It's drawing time again. I'm gonna draw a satisfying pattern with ink, talk about tech and MP3? Well, hello there, I'm Detroit, providing you with your weekly dose of mindless ink doodle. Subscribe for more of that each week with different original patterns and all. I'm trying something new for this video. You might not even notice it, but I switched the cameras I use for my two angles, this one and this one. I have a digital handheld camera that is usually on the tripod above the drawing, but today it's on the side. If I dezoom a bit the top view, you can even see it in the corner over there. The other camera I use is a Logitech Full HD webcam. Usually it's in the small tripod in front of my drawing. The thing I'm trying out today is figuring out which one is better for the top-down view. I could argue it's the best angle for speed drawing. I usually switch to the other view when my hand is obscuring the drawing, giving you access to what I'm doing instead of watching my hand move around for a minute or two. I think the webcam is better for close-up shots, as it's harder to focus in a mid-range, but it's good for things really close by or really far away. The digital camera has a good quality and has an optical zoom, so technically it should be better for the top-down view, but the focus is usually all over the place. Since I have to restart the recording every 30 minutes, it's really hard to have the same zoom every time, and I also need to reset the autofocus and put it in manual each time. Back when I used to do that, it was a nightmare to edit properly in Premiere Pro and have all the successive shots coincide seamlessly with one another. So today I'm switching the two so we can see which configuration is better. Because the USB cable for the camera is very short, it's much easier to do it like today, I'll tell you that. If the drawing is too long and I need to recharge the camera battery, I have to pull the tripod back towards my computer in order to charge it, and then bring it out again and try to have it in the same spot. With the webcam on top, the cable is always plugged into the computer and it's more than long enough. So we'll see how it goes. On a completely different note, today I want us all to reminisce of a time long gone. Do you remember when CDs were a thing for listening to music? Well, I want to talk about right after that. Yes, you're right, I'm talking about the advent of the MP3. I had my first MP3 player in 2006. It was a black USB key with 3 buttons on it and a jack port. I remember it was even a 2.5mm jack and not the common 3.5 used everywhere today. The memory was so small I could only put 40 low-quality MP3 songs on it. There was one button that you would press for a few seconds to turn it on, a tiny red light would start blinking then. The same button was used for pause and play if pressed quickly. The other buttons were of course for changing songs or turning the volume up and down if pressed repeatedly. And the songs were always in the same order of course. At the time, I had basically no musical taste of my own, but rebellious enough that I wouldn't want the same songs my parents always played on CD, so I had my older sister give me her songs. For a year, I basically listened to a lot of Shakira. I remember briefly having an MP4 after that, which was basically the same but with more storage and a small screen to choose the song without having to press a button for 2 seconds 30 times. It had a random feature for when I wanted to surprise myself with which song I was gonna play next. But the real revelation certainly happened in 2009 for me when I got an iPod Nano. 8 GB of songs, a detailed screen with even 3 games on it, a touch wheel to navigate. I still only had my sister's favorite songs to listen to, but it was great. Sadly, the iPod stopped working after a year or so I got another one with my saved up monthly allowance. The new iPod was a generation of Nano later, with a small camera at the back and 16 GB. My first iPod had been a matte blue, and this one was a shiny blue. It stopped working really quickly, but at least Apple had a good return policy so I could exchange it. This time for iPod Nano number 3, which was shiny orange. I kept that one for a long time, until a good friend of mine from the United States sold me an iPod Touch for 20 bucks and a homemade chocolate cake. The iPod Touch was second generation and it didn't have a camera and everything, but it had 64 GB on it, so way more songs. It was about this time I learned how to torrent songs and I quickly filled the iPod with nearly 6,000 songs. I also had some help from all of my friends who also had iPods, and I went around with a hard drive to steal all of their MP3s and quickly filling up the bank. We would basically exchange albums and spend afternoons sorting out the playlist in iTunes. Skip to a few years, a backpack stolen with my iPod in it as well as my computer, but at least I still had the drive with all my MP3 collection on it. And don't worry, I also had backups of my whole computer and the insurance gave me enough to buy another one back. This was 4 years ago, I believe. I never bought another iPod because I was a bit fed up with having to go through iTunes and the new models were becoming really expensive for something I only used to listen to music with. I didn't care about the apps, the touchscreen and all of that. I only wanted the biggest storage I could find, and honestly, buying a 250GB micro SD card for my phone was the easiest option. But then, that's when Spotify boomed, along with Deezer and other platforms like this one. I have to tell you, I wasn't a fan of Spotify. Why should I pay to listen to music I could find illegally anyway? And use an internet connection when I could have all of my songs offline otherwise. And to be clear, I am still not using Spotify to this day. I still refuse to pay, even though I know I should compensate the artist and everything. Listen, I'm selfish, but more importantly, I have a folder on my computer with over 20,000 songs at the moment. At least 5/6 of it is organized neatly in folders by artist and then by albums. As I explained in the last 5 minutes, this is something I've been doing for years. My collection is big enough so that listening to it all would take more than 2 full months without sleep. Again, this is years worth of work, collecting, downloading and organizing thousands and thousands of tracks. And I should probably switch to Spotify and the likes, but do I really want to spend days and days to sort through the platform to find the songs I want? No. Simply no. One advantage I can give to Spotify though is the fact that discovering new songs is made really easy with the playlist made according to your tastes. But at the same time, I like to discover artists and albums, not songs. I listen to whole albums, I don't want to know only one song by someone. Plus, some of the things I listen to are sometimes hard to find on Spotify, believe it or not. I have digitalized CDs from my parents' collections that do not exist on the platform, and I listen to them a lot. Or sometimes compilations of greatest hits that I like to have in order because I've known the same assortment of tracks for years. Or even songs we recorded with my old band that aren't anywhere in the world except on a few CDs and my hard drive. Listen, I don't know what to do. I would like to switch over to Spotify and stop having to find and download all the songs I want to add to my portable repertoire. It would also save up a whole 1TB hard drive that I could definitely use for something else. But I can't bring myself to do it. The workload is too much. Do you know any good way I could do that? Maybe a tool that would scan the MP3s I have and automatically find them and add them on Spotify? Any solution? I'm desperate here. Tell me in the comments if you do know some way that could help me. That's probably the most personal thing I've ever shared with you, but that's where my mind went today. Like the video if you enjoyed the drawing or the talk, or both, and subscribe for art videos twice a week. I'm Detroit and I'm gonna go sort out another 1,000 tracks. See ya, bye!